going on, Dice Rollers? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. And today I want to talk to you about the top 10 DMs I'd like to sit at the table with and have them run my Dungeons & Dragons game. Now, this is a completely subjective list, and it's really not in any kind of particular order, but I'll explain as I go. Deborah Ann Wall. Deborah Ann Wall is an American actress who played Hamby on True Blood and Karen Page on Netflix's Daredevil. But I am not choosing her as my number one because she's an actress, but because of her pure and simple joy of playing the game. Every time I listen to her, she is just so joyful about playing, and I really liked her show Relics and Rarities, especially when she had somebody who was playing grab an item from the Rarity store and then built a story around it. That's the kind of creativity I love at my table. Joe Maganello. Joe Maganello is an actor and has played in True Blood. He played as Deathstroke, and he was in the movie Magic Mike. And I got to tell you, I would really like to play Joe's table, first of all, because of his killer Dungeons & Dragons room, an homage to Gary Gygax. I would love to be in there. But also, I'd love to play with him maybe in Dragonlance, which is his particular favorite setting. And he usually has a who's who of stars sitting around the table playing D&D with him, which would just be a fascinating thing for me just to be a fly on the wall and watch how he plays and how he DMs the game. He's got a real passion for it, and I would just love to be a part of it. Matt Colville. Matt Colville is the CEO of MCDM and the author of Strongholds and Followers, as well as the producer of Arcadium Magazine, which is a really, really good magazine. I'd want to sit at Matt's table because I just think he's got the ability and the depth of knowledge of the game that he could bring up anything at any time. He could bring up something brand new, a new mechanic, a new monster, a new something that would just come out of nowhere maybe, and I just think that type of game is exciting to me. Troy Lavalle. Now, Troy Lavalle is the host of one of the many hosts of Glass Cannon Podcast. They enjoy playing First Edition Pathfinder and Starfinder and other RPGs. And I have to say, every time I listen to an episode, it is just laugh out loud funny. There's not an episode where I just don't just bust out in laughter and just enjoy it immensely. And one thing I like about Troy's style and why I'd want to sit at his table is because he can craft a really good story. He links things together. He creates a story out of the characters very well, and does background, and I like his voices too. He does some really, really good voices. So there's a couple of reasons there I'd like to sit at Troy's table, as well as maybe give him a little bit of a hard time because everybody else on his group at his table gives him a hard time, and it is quite fun to listen to. Hankerin Furnail, also known as Drunken Dragons and Runehammer, and he is the author of ICRPG and Viking Death Squad, and an unbelievable artist. I gotta say, the reason I'd want to sit at Hank's table is because I'd want to see all the cool index card artwork that he has put out there and that he brings to the table, and he just brings a really cool frenetic energy and storytelling and just epicness to the table that I would really want to just immerse myself in. Professor Dungeon Master, author of The Adventures Macbeth and Frankenstein, and I'd like to sit at Professor Dungeon Master's table, first of all because of his +2 vest of protection, but also because he loves OSR. He loves the original Dungeons & Dragons. He loves the fact that characters can die, and I do like that fact. I do like, if I have to roll up a new character or something like that, I like there to be that high element of risk, and I think he just does a great job of doing that, as well as just being innovative with some of the rules. So I'd like to sit at the table and watch that kind of come to light as I am playing, even if I die. Chris Perkins, Senior Story Designer at Wizards of the Coast, and par excellence DM, especially at the PAX events. And listen, I understand that he probably wouldn't dress up if we were just playing a game at his house or something like that, but you don't know. I think that's partly why I'd want to play at his table, because you just don't know what you're going to get sometimes. I think you're going to get surprises. I think there's just an element of that grin that he has on his face, that he knows something is coming, and he puts things together well. In fact, I'm running an adventure right now, Minds of Madness, that was, he wrote several years ago, and I really feel like he just checks all the boxes on a D&D adventure. Mike Shay, aka Sly Flourish, author of the Lazy Dungeon Master books, of which I own all of them. And I would like to sit at Mike's table because the way he plans, if you ever watched any of his planning videos, I think he's just a good planner. But I also think, he's got several random tables which he could roll on at any moment. And I just think that sense of randomness, and I think that sense of planning, that he's really going into it, really super thoughtful and thinking about his players. And I appreciate that so much in a DM, and that's why I'd like to sit at his table. Ted from Nerd Immersion. Ted from Nerd Immersion is one of my favorite YouTubers. He does a great job of breaking news. And what I really like about him, too, he does have a very good rules acumen. He has a really good grip on the game. He has an analytical mind. He's super laid back, though, right? He just sounds like a good dude that I'd want to play a game with. And you know what? Because he breaks the news so much, I hope that if I was sitting around the table, he'd spill a little tea on maybe something he hasn't posted yet, and I'd be privy to that information. Finally, Luke Hart from DM's Lair. Luke Hart is a wild man. I just think he's a funny guy. If you ever watch any of his YouTube videos, he's got some great little skits. I would look forward to sitting at his table and listening to NPCs talking. And I like him because he's got opinions, too. I think he's got some very strong opinions on how the game is played, what the table is like, and how people should behave at the table. And I kind of like that. I like that there are boundaries, and that he really just takes the game seriously, and he wants everybody to have a good time. And so that's the reason why I would want to sit at his table and why he is number 10. All right, that's my top 10 list of DMs I'd like to sit at their table, but I'd like to know, whose table would you like to sit at? Leave me some comments down below, or leave your own list, and be sure to check out some of the other videos I have here on the channel. And until the next one, we'll catch you later.